Hey, welcome to the Two Dudes Talk Movies podcast. I'm Luke.
I'm Griffin.
And we are back again, continuing our October Halloween Spooky Time Shenanigan Month. We are here with another guest who has also been here before, Brooke Wilson.
Hello, hello.
Those who aren't familiar with you, who are you? What do you do?
My name is Brooke. I'm an instructor here at Eastern Illinois, adjunct. I teach public speaking, and I love horror films. I'm a horror fan, and so I brought a horror film today. And I also have experience with researching horror fandom as well. So ready to dive into this.
All right. Well, we are talking about American Mary from 2012, I think. 11.
You didn't do your research?
I think it's 12.
I think it's
12.
I can't clock it.
Early 2010s. But American Mary. This film follows, like a med school dropout, basically. And she goes on this weird journey through body horror and surgeries. And it's a lot. There's not a good way to explain it. It's a lot. But with some general thoughts, Brooke, we'll start with you.
Okay. General thoughts on the film. Well, I picked this one specifically because it does take place during school time, even though a lot of this is her doing clinical work in a hospital. It is taking place during a semester. So I thought, and it's a fall semester, clearly the leaves are changing. So I thought, it's Halloween-y enough. So we'll pick this one. But the first time I watched this, I was in high school and I loved it. It feels like a feminist piece. I think it's a feminist piece. It doesn't just feel like one, like it is one. But I love the theme of it. I think it's a lot about bodily autonomy. There is a sexual assault that happens in this film, and med student is taken advantage of by a mentor. And the rest of the film is her sort of reclaiming her own bodily autonomy, helping other women and other people express that too through body modification. But I love it. I think it's empowering. And it's also gross and icky too. So
it wouldn't be a horror movie without it being gross and icky, though, would it?
No.
Griffin. General thoughts.
Kind of starting out, definitely another body horror movie. This is our third one this year, I believe. We did Society and then Together. Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of themes kind of going throughout all these body horror movies. It's with Together, it's about love and relationships, and just kind of finding yourself with your partner. With Society, it's kind of covers the hierarchical parts of society, name drop, and just kind of how the rich feed off the poor. And with American Mary, it's kind of reclaiming yourself and finding yourself again after a traumatic event, and whether that's acting all crazy and murderous or not. But the ethics of that can be discussed. But overall, general thoughts, I've kind of just noticed a lot how body horror can be used for a lot of different themes in general, and it's kind of neat how that all ties in. Yeah,
for me, with the body horror, it's unconventional in a sense where everybody expects it to be this weird amalgamation of body horror or something, but it's more so a mutilation type of body horror where with all the surgeries that go on and just the body modding in general. Mm-hmm. But they do a good job with portraying that, and the practicality of it, it feels really real, which is unsettling a little bit.
This movie, the twins, the Soska twins who direct this, made sure that it was all practical effects. There's no digital effects happening. That definitely helps with the making it feel real. And they used a lot of people who actually had these body mods too. So which I thought was cool. It's definitely singular. That's what I'll say for a movie. I haven't seen anything like it before. And I like what you're saying, that the body horror aspect of it is different because it is more mutilation in a medical sense. It's definitely different than Society, definitely different than Together. And I like that. It's a different take on body horror. So
it's actually shot pretty decently. And I fear that kind of concludes the list of things that I enjoyed, which is a bit of a bummer.
so kind of just looping back for a quick second before we delve into the hate train. I cannot talk today. I'm sorry. Kind of going into like the practical effects, like society had a lot of, it was basically all practical effects. There wasn't really any room for CGI, but I didn't really notice whether American Mary used like CGI or it was all practical effects. I feel like it was like simplistic enough where it was like kind of easy to do practical effects, but again, any day I'll take practical effects over CGI.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Have you ever tried to do practical effects before?
I have not.
Right. No. It's not easy. Even the most simple, like the first one where the guy's eye looks like it was stabbed.
Right.
I'm sure that was incredibly hard to do, even though in concept compared to society, maybe when there's a bunch of body parts and melting together. Yeah, it's different, but I wouldn't say it was easy. Probably not easy.
Well, I don't want to just have the whole episode be me ragging on it, but so Brooke, we're going to start with you. What are some things you like about this movie or just general things you want to go over?
I agree that it's shot really well. I think what's interesting, I don't know how much digging you guys did on the production of this film outside of the movie itself. I love the Soska twins, the directors, who were also the twins in the film itself. Everything that I've read about them, they have great synergy on set. They recycle a lot of their actors, which is a good sign of directors people are comfortable working around. They're definitely, I don't want to say like low brow, but low budget type of people where they just don't come from a lot of money and they don't put a lot of money into their productions. But I know for this one specifically, their parents refinanced their house so that they could afford production money for it, which I think is interesting and neat. And then
generous of them too.
It was. And as a thank you, they put their parents in the movie. Their dad was the German doctor that helped Mary do the twins. And then their mom was one of the officers at the end. But one of the reasons I love this is because I love the Soska twins. And I think they're also a huge fan of penectomy, which is like the medical term for removing a man's penis. And they use this a lot in films. Their first movie was Dead Hooker in a Trunk. And if you guys...
Wait, hold up. It was called Dead Hooker in a Trunk.
Yes, that was their debut film. It was sort of like an FU to the film school they went to. Because, I mean, they claimed they got scammed and they didn't really learn anything. And it was like, we're just going to make a ridiculous movie with no budget and a cool car and some weird practical effects. And you could totally tell... they really stepped their game up with American Mary and the production value. But anyway, I think they're a real fun set of directors. And again, they're a fan of penectomy, and I think that's fun. I think our whole world revolves around the penis. Sorry, we're going to hear that word a lot in this podcast, but it does. Everything is so phallic. Like, that is the dominant sex. And so, although you don't see that in this film, you don't see his junk being cut off. She says she's going to do it. And you can paint that picture that she does because he's wearing a diaper the next time that we see him. But
and he's got a whole list of other problems going on with him, such as arms missing, hanging legs from missing. A rack. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's kind of suspended.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I just love how bold this movie is. And I didn't pick this movie because I hate men. I just picked it because I think bad men should have bad things happen to them. And it's fun and vindicating to see it happen in a movie. And it's interesting because women's bodies are so exposed in film typically. Like, you see breasts in so many films. You hardly see full frontal with men. And you don't see it in this movie, and I do wish we did see it. But I like the idea of knowing that they cut the man's penis off. So these are all things of why I like this film. Again, I don't hate men, but honestly, it's refreshing, right?
What I'm hearing, I think, is that the real horror this Halloween is if you're a bad guy, Brooke Wilson will find you, is what I'm hearing.
There's nothing more conceptually terrifying than men. but you know, I don't know. It's comforting. I thought it would be an interesting conversation to have with two guys. That's why I picked this movie, really, because it is from the female perspective, like what happens with women, how our identities can never be separated from our bodies. We're always being objectified, even down to like women's clothing is meant to correct women's bodies. I mean, like thinking of heels, where it makes us taller and it makes us like closer to height of men, or thinking of clothing, it's typically like form fitting, so it shows how different our bodies are typically from men. It's nice to see a film that is directly commenting on bodily autonomy. Like literally, Mary, the worst thing happened to her. She was sexually assaulted, and something happened to her that she had no consent over, and she flipped the switch and was like, okay, well then I'm going to start modifying this man's body and doing things to him without his consent. Do I think that's okay to do in reality? No, but in the cinematic universe, I love it. So
because behind the silver screen, you can get away with pretty much anything.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And really it's that theme of bodily autonomy that I love so much about this film and drew me in as a high schooler. That was really comforting to see as a young girl, and watching it today, it still holds up. I mean, it's still a conversation that we're having today about like what rights women have over their own bodies. And I like that we have a character that's like, you want to do this thing to your body? I'm going to help you do it. I think it's cool.
And I think that's a strong suit the movie has with all of that commentary, right? Like, I don't even have a better way to explain it. Like, that's a pretty good explanation of it. And that's kind of what the deep thought that I had for this is like what the body modding was a commentary on. Mm-hmm. And I don't see a problem with getting to it right now just because we're on the topic of it. There's no point on saving it. But like for me, it was kind of like also reassuring for those that are like uncomfortable with themselves a little bit. Like I know body shaming and like being self-conscious all the time for some people is like a big problem. So having this movie kind of address that a little bit, I think a scene that highlights it well is the photo shoot in Mary's new apartment, where she's kind of like hyping them up as she's taking the photos and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love, there's so many different takes you can have on this juxtaposition between cosmetic surgery and then body modifications. I like that you see both of that in this film. And that's why, even though it's technically shot in Vancouver, it's set in America because we're obsessed with image and the way that we look. And what's really interesting is like this isn't just for women to connect to. It can also be like people who have tattoos or piercings, and thinking of like, is it really that different for people to get like lip injection and cheek implants versus people who get things like tribal scarring and eyeball tattoos and, you know, a little bit more intense body modification? Is it really different at all that different? You're doing something to your body to make yourself feel more comfortable, and to sort of project what you feel on the inside to the outside. And so I really liked that. I mean, in media, one of those is portrayed as more unprofessional or scary than the other, right? So when you see people that are heavily tattooed or have piercings or have like body mods, like the implants under the eyebrows or, you know, down to like shaving the teeth, people tend to find that to be scary, and fear often stems from just being uneducated on something, and not understanding something. But I like that it opens up the conversation of people in the body mod community aren't really all that different from people in, you know, Hollywood or whatever, getting breast implants or lip injections. It's a neat conversation to open up, I think.
Kind of like looping back for a second. I went into this movie pretty blind. Like, I didn't know pretty much anything aside from like the title. Mm-hmm. But I could tell like pretty early on, like kind of like what the general theme of like what the theme of the movie was, like just kind of, you know, something terrible happens to you, and it's just like how you react to it, and just like finding like kind of freedom and in Mary's case, like body modification, just like it just kind of like shows how she can like have control over like those who hurt her, like with what's his face, Dr. Grant, like how he went all limbless because she cut off all his limbs. So it's just like, you did this terrible thing to me, and in exchange, I'm going to do something like almost as worse by, you know, cutting off all your limbs and then like sewing your mouth shut so you can't even like call out for help. And then it's like when this later on in the film, when the security guard like walks in on Mary and Dr. Grant, it's like he absolutely would have like been like, oh my God, but he got, you know, murdered. So it's just like, right. She left no witnesses at all. Like this terrible thing happened to her, and just like she wanted complete control. She didn't want to go to jail. She didn't want to like anyone really live to tell the tale either.
Yeah. That's a fair take on that. Dr. Grant took away her ability to voice whether she had an opinion of, you know, sleeping with this man. And she did the same thing, took away the freedom to voice, don't do this thing to my body. So it was, you know, tit for tat. I do think it was interesting. You brought up the security guard and her killing the security guard. I'm curious what you guys think about her towards the end. She starts to inflict pain on people who really don't have anything to do with her own pain. I think at this point in the movie, like I do like your take on it, where she wants complete control over the situation. So of course, let's kill the person that just saw me doing the thing I'm not supposed to be doing. Yeah. That totally makes sense. Most of her victims are men. There was one moment in a bathroom where she was going to attack a woman and sort of did, which I was like, that's not a very girl thing to do, right? But I think she ended up having a bad experience with a man, so then every man had to be punished for it.
Right.
Which a lot of revenge films are like that too. Miss 45, which is an older film, is like that. Where a woman was sexually assaulted by two men, and then her life's goal was to then kill every single man she ever met, even if they were nice. Again, I'm not saying that's the thing to do, but it's interesting. She started projecting that one experience with a man onto every single man she ran into.
It's like kind of going back to the whole, like she wants to inflict her pain upon like every man that she meets. The only ones that are like really safe, in a sense, are like the detective. But then again, they only have like 2 scenes where they interact, so there isn't much to kind of go off of. And then like her security guard too, Lance, I believe his name was.
Yeah, that's right. She almost poisoned the detective, I think, but then she had like a reality check, and like, I think she had a moment of reflection of this person has really nothing to do with, at least in the case of, he's not a threatening man. He's threatening her life though by perhaps throwing her in jail. But I don't know. She had a moment of reflection and decided not to inflict any pain on him.
Switch the glass of water at the last minute.
Well,
what else don't you like about this, Luke?
Yeah, Luke.
Unfortunately, literally everything else.
That's okay. Give it to me.
Like the cinematography is good. Yes. I think this whole commentary on everything we've been discussing is done well, but I don't care for anything else, unfortunately.
What do you think of the script? What do you think of the dialogue?
I don't think the dialogue was bad, but like the acting here doesn't help for me.
You don't like the acting?
No, I literally have it written down that it's just as sterile as Jared Leto. Like it's kind of rough for me. Okay. I don't know if I vibe with it. But
Mary specifically?
Yeah.
Okay. Totally get that, because she does deliver a lot of things like deadpan, monotone. But I mean, she is so removed from reality. I do believe that was an intentional way to deliver it, whether you like it or not, where she clearly is disassociating with every conversation she has with the person. She's like looking off into the distance. she delivers all of her lines like this.
It's so silly, bro.
And
like, it makes me like laugh a little bit, and maybe that's mean of me, but I don't know.
Have you ever been depressed?
All the time. We work in journalism.
Right. And I don't know, some people express that a little differently. Hers is more literal, I think. I happen to like the way that she did the character. I like that it also was kind of sultry somehow. I don't know. It was totally opposite from Valley Girl, so I really liked it. And her look was kind of vampy, so to me it made sense. She also doesn't have a love interest in this film, which I love. And I think that has a lot to do with her inability to connect with people on a real level. And I think it just ties into the way she's delivering her lines, which is just monotone and one note. You could say it's one note. I would agree. I like it.
I do partially agree with you on the acting, or like the dialogue itself is fine. I have no problem with that. It's just like sometimes like with Mary can feel like a little bit dry in the lines delivered like this, and like with other characters too, just like minor characters, it just felt like their lines weren't like fully read out to the best of their abilities. Like it just didn't feel like like there was a lot of emotion behind it sometimes.
I get that. Yeah, whether I'm giving it too much credit or not, I feel like those are all intentional to create a character that's so disconnected from her own emotions that
detached.
she can do these things to people. I do love Beatrice, though. I love the way that the gal that looks like Betty Boop.
Right.
And also, I love all the women in this film. And I love the fashion designer, too, that wanted to look more like Barbie. So tragic. Again, tying back into bodily autonomy, this idea of she wants to turn herself into a doll that's typically not sexualized. So let's take off all the extra bits. Screw what my husband or my boyfriends think. I'm going to do this thing because this is how I want to be viewed. And this is going to help. I'm going to get rid of the bits that, people can't help but think about whenever they look at me. But I like how, maybe, I don't know, I can't agree. I think the acting is good. But I like how singular and individual each character is. They're so different from each other and unique and well thought out, I think. A nice little bit about the script itself. It was written in 2 weeks, and I don't want to hear I could tell, right?
I wasn't going to say it.
I think the dialogue is fair.
I don't think, for being written in 2 weeks, I think it passes pretty well.
It's pretty good for only 2 weeks.
And a win's a win. And a win's a win. But yeah, they were trying to sell Dead Hooker in a Trunk, their debut film. And some guy asked what their next project was, and they kind of just pulled this story out of thin air, not actually having the script written down. And the guy said, I want to take a look at that script. And so one of the twins was like, well, give me a couple of weeks just to polish it up. And then they both wrote the entire thing in a couple of weeks. And of course, there was probably a lot of editing and so on between the end of that 2 weeks and whenever it was being filmed. But I think that's really impressive.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Just kind of pulled it out of thin air,
Also out of thin air.
Yes.
Is the music.
Okay.
I don't know if I vibe with it. Like, there's, I think, one needle drop that actually, like, kind of works.
Okay.
It's the one, like, during the surgery with the twins, I believe, where, like, she hits the play or whatever. But the very first one made me, like, start laughing because it was so out of the blue whenever she's looking at the website and it just randomly starts playing some song and then immediately stops.
It's just like some like random rock track, and it's just like, what's that doing there?
Well, I believe it was attached to the website. That's what it was insinuating. Like, you open the website and it's like playing metal music because it's about body modifications. Were you into MySpace at all, or are you too young for that?
I think I'm too young.
When you had a MySpace page, you can attach a song to your profile page. So when people would open it up, it would start playing a song. I think it was something similar to that. I mean, this is around the same time.
Is MySpace still a thing?
No, it's not.
I think my Gen Z ass over here just didn't think of that. So maybe that's on me for not liking it. But yeah, I don't know. It was really random. But then there's like also when Mary walks into the club for the first time.
Okay.
It's the one with the surgeons. There's like background music playing, but the volume level is inconsistent the entire time. It randomly gets higher when no one's talking, and then it lowers dips when people are. And that's like standard stuff. But then mid dialogue, it randomly raises and lowers again. And so it like doesn't choose a volume level to like alternate between or stay consistent with. And that it bothers me. I don't know if that's just my OCD kicking in or like what that is.
What scene was that?
That's the one where Mary walks into the club with I guess it's not a club. It's like a penthouse
the apartment.
with all the surgeons that are up there.
Perhaps that's simulating what is probably happening with her when she's drinking the drugged drink and things are becoming disorienting. That could, if you felt disorienting while listening to that scene, because levels were raising and lowering when it didn't seem natural, it was probably an intentional choice because she's being drugged. So that's probably, that's something, not only your vision is going to be obscured, but like what you're hearing too. Things are cutting in and out because you have drugs in your system. So
maybe, but like it happens when she walks in, like right from the get-go, it's like that.
Okay.
So like, and then during the moment where like we get those hints that she's like drugged, the cinematography gets more washy with things.
Yes.
To insinuate that. So I don't know if the music was meant to like tell you like, hey, something's off just off the get-go, or like what? I don't know. Am I stupid? Like I don't know if I'm missing it.
Not. No. I don't know. I didn't notice that, honestly. So I don't know. That's a reason to rewatch it and then see if I can catch the audio bit and try to make sense of it.
I think my main gripe with this though is that the plot just magically moves. And I feel like I'm not following along properly with certain things. Like what is it? I want to say pimp because I don't know for a better term for him, but the one dancer club guy that runs everything. Is that his name?
I don't remember a lot of the characters' names, interestingly enough. But the manager, the owner of the strip joint.
Let's say the manager. We'll go with the manager then. Sounds nicer.
Billy.
Sounds nicer.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Billy. So he like just randomly finds the professor, but it's not like one that he's told to go find. He just randomly finds it. And I don't know, like, sure, maybe he has pockets or whatever, but it feels like a random plot beat that gets brought up. And then there's also like scenes that just randomly happen with no real relevance. And I don't know what the point of that is.
I will say that I noticed this too while watching it the past couple times I've watched it. And I think it's a problem with the editing where they cut things out that they shouldn't have. Especially like the grandma dying. It feels like that. I almost don't catch what's happening in that instance. You just need to hear the other end of that conversation, but you don't hear it. I think they do. Mary, in brief, has a conversation with Billy about another doctor who went missing. I don't know how. Again, it could have just been they cut out too much information, so when someone's watching it for the first time, they're gonna not follow along with it. I agree. There are some really choppy parts, for sure. I won't disagree with that. I've watched it a lot of times though, to where I'm like, oh, okay, I feel good about what's happening here, you know. But I do notice that every time. Some of the scenes are super short too. Like there's some cuts that could even if we held on a little bit longer, it would make more sense. I agree. Yeah, it seems like there were some interesting editing choices and maybe mistakes, ? Where they left out too much.
Yeah, and there's one scene in here too where you mentioned like conversations in brief. And there's one where they're in the Barbie doll lady's apartment. I can't remember names either because characters kind of are forgettable. I'm not going to lie for me. But like...
Interesting take.
Yeah, I know. But like they stick out, but like the names I can't remember other than Mary because we're following her the entire time. But point is that in her apartment, there's like the photos on the mirror and they're like, oh, I didn't know that she had a husband. And then it's like a random throwaway dialogue line, but then that entire line hinges on the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
With him being this random like killer guy. And I have no idea why that was there, because the only setup is this one line of dialogue that's in a throwaway.
He gets one line of dialogue, and then he just kind of spawns in at the end of the movie. It's like, where'd you come from?
Yeah, I don't love the ending. You know, it does feel like what's the most jarring and unexpected thing we can make happen at the end, to where no one's gonna guess what's going to happen, and then you throw in the husband who's going to kill Mary, even though we don't even see him up until that point, right? We see him see photos, his wife. And we know he's pissed, but yeah, I don't love it. I don't love that that's the ending. I also don't love that she died either, at the hands of another man. But that's reality, I guess. But yeah, I think maybe it was just, you see a lot of endings like that around that time, around the early aughts, where it's like, what's just the most jarring way we can end this movie? And people aren't going to guess it. What's the twist? I'm not a huge fan of twist endings, to be fair. So do I love it? No, but I'll accept it.
Yeah. And then like, there's also, because then with these random points of the story just kind of moving and not getting explained, inconsistencies appear, where Mary's very adamant about like, I don't want to keep modding. I don't want to do this. And yeah, she gets a huge paycheck out of it.
Yeah.
But then like the third time it rolls around, she's like, all right, let's get to work. But it's like a scene right after, if not two after, of her being like, I don't want to do that. Leave me alone. So there's no like character progression, I feel like, for Mary. It just randomly kind of moves along.
Development just kind of happens.
Right. And then there's one that really, really bothers me, where the manager guy is talking, I think it's like about halfway through or a little after, where Mary's asking him for to torture somebody or something like that. And he says, we don't torture people like we used to. What is like we used to 40 minutes ago? Like, I don't, because the movie's not that long either, and that's fine, because I could not have sat through a longer movie of this. And sorry, but and yeah, I don't know. Like, does he win? There's no progression between point A and B. It just happens, and then even like in world, it's been 2 days. Like, did we just randomly switch up our mindset and be like, oh, I actually have something very serious on my mind today? I don't know like what the progression there was. Yeah,
no, I get that. My rebuttal was going to be, well, a lot of time has passed between those points, and the film maybe didn't do a good job of expressing that. However, I don't recall seeing the seasons change. It seemed like it was fall the whole time, you know? So like, I understand. It very much seems like her attitude changed really quickly within a day. But she ended up accumulating a lot of clients, and there is some time markers there, like seeing a woman who has a split tongue and seeing her tongue being healed. There was a lot of time between when Mary did that versus when it healed. So yeah, maybe they weren't such direct ways of insinuating that a lot of time had passed. It could have been more developed, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Luke definitely agrees on that point.
Yeah, I'm very much a stickler for like stories of very important things. So if you mess that up, you're going to lose a lot of points with me. And when we get to the ratings, you're going to notice that, or if you saw Letterboxd already. Well, with that, and unfortunately our machine's slowly dying for OBS by 5%. Accident. This is not good. This is not planned. This is not okay.
It was planned. He hates this movie, so we made sure it was going to be short.
No, I promise. Well, do we think we're good for ratings?
I think we're good.
I think you two should start first.
All right. Okay. Griffin, I'm going to have you start because you're probably going to be well more positive than I am.
Sung more praises. So I was kind of... So yeah, my ratings for this is interesting. I was swinging between a few different ratings. When I first watched it, I wanted to give it a 2 because I just thought it's just like... for reasons Luke kind of said, and just kind of a few things I talked about too. But like just kind of having this discussion, it was just like I could kind of see how like more points were made, and it's just like my rating went up a lot. So overall, I think I would give this film a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. Average. I'll accept
Yes.
it.
Definitely a lot of things to kind of talk through, and
Great.
it helped.
Luke?
Well,
As the dude who has never liked a movie, what would you give this?
I'm never going to beat that allegation. And I think I've accepted that.
will.
I think I've gotten to a point where like I've accepted it
I don't think you want to. I could tell you like it.
a little bit. It gives me some credit a little bit. But yeah, I always say that like story is a really important thing, right? And those issues that I have with this film story was just randomly moving plot along, having some inconsistencies, despite the good cinematography and the messaging behind everything, leaves me feeling like I had a bad experience. So I'm going to go with a 1.5 out of 5.
Ouch.
I almost didn't want to do the sound effects, but
I don't know that I've ever given a movie that before. Anything lower than a 2 or a 3. It hurts.
I think that just means people are happier than I am is what I'm hearing.
Maybe. And that brings me to, how I rate films. It just, especially being someone who's familiar with production and the craft of filmmaking, I could never give a film less than 3 because I know how hard it is to make a film. But it's something that I've been doing recently is I haven't been adding numerical values to ratings. So because I like to talk about things, I'm a qualitative scholar. I don't like to, seclude experiences down to numbers. So I don't want to do that. For the sake of the Two Dudes Talk Movies podcast, I'll go ahead and give you one and say it's 5 stars because we had a 5-star conversation about this. So I don't know how I could honestly give it any less because we just talked about this for 40 minutes and didn't run out of things to talk about. We certainly could talk about this. I could talk about this for another couple of hours if somebody would let me. But I like what Griffin said, right? His rating went up a little bit because we talked through a lot of things. Maybe not Luke's, and that's fine. It's not going to happen with everyone, and it'll never happen with Luke, and that's okay.
Sorry,
we know
guys.
that now.
it's okay to have a wrong opinion, Luke. It's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to have bad takes, as we've learned. But yeah, 5 stars, 5-star conversation. I recommend everyone to go watch this, especially now spooky season, because it feels spooky. It feels Halloween-y. And it's really empowering, even if you're a man, right? You don't have to be a woman to enjoy this film. Griffin liked it. So
I pulled through.
yeah. So go watch this film.
All right. Well, that concludes our, what is this, penultimate now? Because we got one more guest episode for our Halloween, October spooky time month shenanigans.
Cool beans.
So we will see you again next week. But for the time being, I'm Luke.
I'm Griffin.
I'm Brooke.
And we will see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.